Alright. Before I finish the level, I want to provide some context, and it's all in this book right here. This is Installing, Configuring, and Administering Windows XP Professional. About this book. Welcome to Installing, Configuring, and Administering Windows Microsoft XP Professional 70-270 2nd Edition, a part of the Microsoft Office Official Academic Course, or MOAC series. Through lectures, discussions, demonstrations, textbook exercises, and classroom labs, this course teaches the skills and knowledge necessary to plan, install, configure, and support Windows XP in standalone, small network, and corporate network environments. In 16 chapters, students will learn how to install Windows XP Professional, connect to and share network resources, configure internet services and applications, manage security settings and auditing, and evaluate system performance. Target audience. This textbook was developed for beginning information technology students who want to learn to configure and manage Windows XP in a variety of environments so that they can provide corporate support and implementation of Windows XP on a direct hire or consulting basis. Students who continue to study Microsoft Server operating systems can go on to earn the Microsoft Certified System Administrator (MCSA) or Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer (MCSE) credential. Prerequisites. The prerequisites for taking this course are familiarity with use of Windows XP, including navigation and operation of major features, a fundamental knowledge of computer hardware and network construction and operating systems, prerequisite knowledge and coursework as defined by the learning institution and the instructor, completion of the supporting users and troubleshooting Microsoft Windows XP Microsoft Learning course or equivalent experience is recommended. The textbook. The textbook content has been crafted to provide a meaningful learning experience to students in an academic classroom setting. Key features of the Microsoft Official Academic Course textbooks include the following: learning objectives for each chapter that prepare the student for the topic areas covered in that chapter, chapter introductions that explain why the information is important, an inviting design with screenshots, diagrams, tables, bulleted lists, and other graphical formats that make the book easy to comprehend and support a number of different learning styles, clear explanations of concepts and principles, and frequent exposition of step-by-step procedures, a variety of reader aids that highlight a wealth of additional information, including note, real-world application tips and alternative procedures and explanations of complex procedures and concepts. Caution: warnings about mistakes that can result in loss of data or that are difficult to resolve. Important: explanations of essential setup steps before a procedure and other instructions. More info: cross-references and additional resources for students. End of chapter review questions that assess knowledge and can serve as homework, quizzes, and review activities before or after lectures. Answers to the textbook questions are available from your instructor. Chapter summaries that distill the main ideas into a chapter and reinforce learning. Case scenarios, approximately 2 per chapter, that provide students with an opportunity to evaluate, analyze, synthesize, and apply information learned during the chapter. Comprehensive glossary that defines key terms introduced in the book. The Supplemental Course Material CD-ROM. This book comes with a supplemental course material CD-ROM, which contains a variety of informational aids to complement the book content. An electronic version of this textbook, ebook, for information using the ebook, see the section titled Ebook Setup Instruction later in this introduction. The Microsoft Learning Readiness Review Suite Built by Measure Up, this suite of practice tests and objective reviews contains questions of varying complexity and offers multiple testing modes. You can access your understanding of the concepts presented in this book and use the results to develop a learning plan that meets your needs. An ebook of the Microsoft Encyclopedia of Networking, 2nd edition. Microsoft PowerPoint slides based on textbook chapters for note-taking. Microsoft Word Viewer and Microsoft PowerPoint Viewer. A second CD contains a 120-day evaluation edition of Windows XP Professional with Service Pack 2. Note: the 120-day evaluation edition of Windows XP Professional provided with this book is not the full retail product. It is provided only for the purposes of training and evaluation. Microsoft Technical Support does not support evaluation editions. Readiness Review Suite Setup Instructions. The Readiness Review Suite includes a practice test of 300 sample exam questions and an objective review with an additional 125 questions. Use these tools to reinforce your learning and to identify areas in which you need to gain more experience before you take your final exam of the course, or the certification exam if you choose to do so. Installing the practice test. Insert the Supplemental Course Materials CD into your CD-ROM drive. Note: if auto-run is disabled on your machine, refer to the README text file on the Supplemental Course Materials CD. On the User Interface menu, select Readiness Review Suite and follow the prompts. eBook Setup Instructions. The eBook is in portable document format, PDF, and must be viewed using Adobe Acrobat Reader. Using the eBooks. Insert the Supplemental Course Materials CD into your CD-ROM drive. Note: if auto-run is disabled on your machine, refer to readme.txt file on the CD. On the User Interface menu, select Textbook eBook and follow the prompts. You can also review any of the other ebooks provided for your use. Note: you must have the Supplemental Course Materials CD in your CD-ROM drive to run the ebook. The Lab Manual. The Lab Manual is designed for use in either a combined lecture and a lab situation, or in a separate lecture and lab arrangement. The exercises in the Lab Manual correspond to textbook chapters and are for use in a classroom setting supervised by an instructor. The Lab Manual presents a rich hands-on learning experience that encourages practical solutions and strengthens critical problem-solving skills. Lab exercises teach procedures by using a step-by-step format. Questions interspersed throughout lab exercises encourage reflection and critical thinking about the lab activity. Lab review questions appear at the end of each lab and ask questions about the lab. They are designed to promote critical reflection. Lab challenges are review activities that either cover material in the text or ask students to perform a variation on a task they performed in the lab exercises, but without detailed instructions. Troubleshooting labs appear after a number of regular labs. They consist of medium-length review projects and they are based on true-to-life scenarios. These labs challenge students to think like an expert to solve complex problems. Labs are based on realistic business settings and include an opening scenario and a list of learning objectives. Students who successfully complete the lab exercises, lab review questions, lab challenges, and troubleshooting labs in the Lab Manual will have a richer learning experience and deeper understanding of the concepts and methods covered in the course. They will be better able to answer and understand test bank questions, especially the knowledge application and knowledge synthesis questions. They will also be much better prepared to pass the associated certification exam if they choose to take them. Notation conventions. The following conventions are used throughout this textbook and the Lab Manual. Characters or commands that you type appear in bold type. Terms that appear in the glossary also appear in bold type. Italic and syntax statements indicates placeholders for variable information. Italic is also used for book titles and terms defined in the text. Names of files and folders appear in title caps, except when you are to type them directly. Unless otherwise indicated, you can use all lowercase letters when you type a file name in the dialog box or at a command prompt. File name extensions appear in all lowercase. Acronyms appear in all uppercase. Monospace type represents code samples, examples of screen text, or entries you might type at command prompt or in initialization files. Square brackets are used in syntax statements to enclose optional items. For example, file name in command syntax indicates that you can type a file name with the command. Type only the information within the brackets, not the brackets themselves. Braces are used in syntax statements to enclose required items. Type only the information within the braces, not the braces themselves. Keyboard conventions. A plus sign between two keys means that you must press those two keys at the same time. For example, press Alt plus Tab means that you hold down Alt while you press Tab. A comma between two or more key names means you must press the keys consecutively, not at the same time. For example, press Alt F-X means that you press and release each key in sequence. Press Alt plus W-L means you first press Alt W at the same time, and then you release them and press L. Coverage of exam objectives. This book is intended to support a course that is structured around concepts and practical knowledge of fundamental to this topic area, as well as the tasks that are covered in the objectives for the MCSE 70-270 exam. The following table correlates in the exam objectives of the textbook chapters and lab manual exercises. You might find this table useful if you decide to take the certification exam. Note: the Microsoft Learning website describes the various MCP certification exams and their corresponding courses. It provides up-to-date certification information and explains the certification process and the course options. See Microsoft.com/learning for up-to-date information about MCP exam credentials for other certification programs offered by Microsoft. Textbook and lab manual coverage of exam objectives for MCSE exam 70-270. Perform and troubleshoot an attended installation of Windows XP Professional is in Chapter 2 and Labs 1 and 2. Perform and troubleshoot an unattended installation of Windows XP Professional is in Chapter 2 and Lab 2. Installing Windows XP Professional by using Remote Installation Services, or RIS, is in Chapter 2 and is not covered in the labs. Install Windows XP Professional by using the System Preparation tool is covered in Chapter 2 and is not covered by lab content. Create unattended insert files by using Setup Manager to automate the installation of XP Professional is covered in Chapter 2 and is covered in Lab 2. There's a lot of these. I think I'm not going to read this whole table. Here we are. The Microsoft Certified Professional Program. The MCP program is one way to prove your proficiency with current Microsoft products and technology. These exams and corresponding certifications are developed to validate your mastery of critical competencies as you design and develop or implement and support solutions using Microsoft products and technologies. Computer professionals who become Microsoft certified are recognized as experts and are sought after industry-wide. Certification brings a variety of benefits to the individual and employers and organizations. More info. For a full list of MCP benefits, go to microsoft.com/learning/itpro/default.asp. Certifications. The MCP program offers multiple certifications based on specific areas of technical expertise. Microsoft Certified Professional, MCP, in-depth knowledge of at least one Windows operating system or architecturally significant platform. An MCP is qualified to implement a Microsoft product or technology as part of a business solution for an organization. Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer, MCSE, qualified to effectively analyze the business requirements for business solutions and design and implement the infrastructure based on the Windows and Windows Server 2003 operating systems. Microsoft Certified Systems Administrator, MCSA, qualified to manage and troubleshoot existing network and system environments based on the Windows and Windows Server 2003 operating systems. Microsoft Certified Database Administrator, MCDBA, qualified to design, implement, and administrate Microsoft SQL Server databases. Microsoft Certified Desktop Support Technician, MCDST, qualified to support end users and to troubleshoot desktop environments on the Microsoft Windows operating system. MCP requirements. Requirements differ for each certification and are specific to their product and job functions addressed by the certification. To become an MCP, you must pass a rigorous certification exam that provides valid and reliable measure of technical proficiency and expertise. These exams are designed to test your expertise and ability to perform a role or task with a product, and they are developed with the input of industry professionals. Exam questions reflect how Microsoft products are used in actual organizations, giving them real-world relevance. Microsoft Certified MCP's candidates are required to pass one current Microsoft certification exam. Candidates can pass additional Microsoft certification exams to validate their skills with other Microsoft products, developmental tools, or desktop applications. Microsoft Certified System Engineer (MCSE) candidates are required to pass 5 core exams and 2 elective exams. Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer (MCSA) candidates are required to pass 3 core exams and 1 elective exam. Microsoft Certified Database Administrator (MCDBA) candidates are required to pass 3 core exams and 1 elective exam. Microsoft Certified Desktop Support Technician (MCDST) candidates are required to pass 2 core exams. About the offers. The textbook, lab manual, pretest, test bank, and PowerPoint slides were developed exclusively for an instructor-led classroom environment by 2 authors, Dave Field and Owen Fowler. Dave Field is an author, trainer, and presenter. At MCSE on Windows NT4, Windows 2000, and Windows 2003, Dave is an expert on networking, technologies, and support desk topics. He has written consumer computer books such as How to Do Everything with Windows XP Home Networking, Osborne/McGraw-Hill, and has designed courses for Microsoft and Osborne/McGraw-Hill for the Microsoft MCSE, MCSA, and MCDST certifications. Dave is also a system engineer at Camp Snoopy, a theme park in the Mall of America in Bloomington, Minnesota. In this role, he has directed the installations of entire network infrastructures using technologies such as Active Directory, Microsoft Exchange, and Microsoft SQL Server. He has been the principal architect of point-of-sale implementations, ERP rollouts, and e-commerce initiatives. Owen Fowler has worked as a Tier 2 support agent for one of the largest electronic tax filing centers in the United States. He has also run his own computer consulting business covering networking and operating systems in Colorado and Washington. In 2003, he assisted Verizon Wireless in consolidating its nationwide network into a single domain. Owen has been an author, technical editor, and development editor on many titles for Microsoft Learning. For Microsoft official academic course support, every effort has been made to ensure the accuracy of the material in this book and the contents of the CD-ROM. Microsoft Learning provides corrections for books throughout the World Wide Web at the following address, microsoft.com/learning/support. If you have questions, comments, or ideas regarding this book or the companion CD-ROM, please send them to Microsoft Learning using either of the following methods. Postal mail. Microsoft Learning, ARM, installing, configuring, and administering Microsoft Windows XP Professional 70-270 2nd edition, editor 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington 98052-6399, email moac@microsoft.com. Please note that product support is not offered through the above addresses. Evaluation Edition supports software. A 120-day software evaluation edition of Windows XP Professional with Service Pack 2 is provided with this textbook. This is not the full retail product and is provided only for training and evaluation purposes. Microsoft and Microsoft Technical Support do not support this evaluation edition. It differs from the retail version only in that Microsoft and Microsoft Technical Support do not support it, and it expires after 120 days. For information about issues relating to the use of evaluation editions, go to the support section of the Microsoft Learning website, microsoft.com/learning/support. For online support information relating to the full release of Windows XP Professional that might also apply to Evaluation Edition, go to support.microsoft.com. For information about ordering the full version of any Microsoft software, call Microsoft Sales at 800-426-9400 or visit Microsoft.com. Alright, I'm gonna drink some water. Have water? Thought I had water. A little bit. Throat's dry. here. Chapter 1. Introducing Windows XP Professional. Upon completion of this chapter, you will be able to describe the support features of Windows XP Professional, identify security technologies in Windows XP Professional, identify the role of Windows XP Professional into Enterprise, log on to a Windows XP Professional computer. In this course, we introduce you to the installation, configuration, and management of Windows XP Professional. Students in this course are expected to come from all backgrounds and have varying levels of experience with Windows XP Professional. That said, you will get the most from this course if you have a good understanding of the Windows graphical environment. Those who have completed Supporting Users and Troubleshooting Microsoft Windows XP, Microsoft Official Academic Curriculum Course 70-271 will have a firm basis for understanding this material. We have a lot of information to cover, but plenty of excellent resources are available to help you understand this technology. Many will be provided with this textbook, and many more are available from your instructor or at Microsoft Windows XP website at microsoft.com/WindowsXP. Overview of Windows XP Professional. Windows XP Professional is a Microsoft Business Class desktop operating system. It is intended for those who require high performance, security, and reliable computer resources. It differs from the consumer level Windows XP Home Edition in its support for enterprise computing architectures, multiple processors, advanced security, and manageability. It is found in business, desktop publishing, banking, and finance, and manufacturing environments, as well as other areas that require reliable and secure computer performance. In this section, we will examine the features of Windows XP Professional and describe many of the elements of this operating system. Windows XP architecture. The Windows XP line of operating systems is based on the Windows NT kernel architecture. This architecture was designed to allow essential processes, those processes requiring the most privilege, to operate in a privileged environment, often referred to as the kernel, shown in Figure 1-1. This environment is insulated from the direct manipulation of users or hardware resources. The kernel is also separated from the actual system hardware, or the hardware abstraction layer, HAL. The HAL is a layer of code designed to interface a specific hardware with more generic operating system. At one time, HAL has existed for PowerPC with more generic operating systems. At one time, HAL existed for PowerPC and DEC alpha processors, but today, HAL exists mainly to support different power management versions of multiple processors. User mode applications run with less privilege, protecting the kernel from instabilities caused by failing or faulty applications. This separation of critical processes allows the operating system to continue operation even when applications or non-critical hardware devices fail. Critical devices, such as disk drivers or motherboard components, can still bring a system down, but the system most likely will not fail, for example, if a USB peripheral device fails. In addition, each application can be run in a protected memory space. This prevents a failing application from affecting other applications and the operating system itself. Intelligent User Interface. Windows XP represents Microsoft's most advanced user interface. Building on the desktop metaphor of earlier Windows operating systems, Windows XP brings together the latest research in intuitive user design with new, attractive visual styles. The Start menu. The Windows XP Start button, first seen in Windows 95, has been linked to an all-new Start menu that displays a great variety of options with a single space, as shown in Figure 1-2. The users can access frequently and use applications, recent documents, favorite applications, system settings, help, and much more within the same menu. The left column of the figure is divided into pinned items list above and the frequently used programs list below. Initially, these lists have a few default programs listed, but as users work with their computer, the frequently used programs list begins to learn which programs are used most frequently and ranks them for quick access. Users also have the option of pinning any program or document to the pinned items list. The right column of the Start menu contains a list of special purpose folders, the Help and Support area, and configuration tools. This list can be customized to hide or expose folders such as My Documents, My Music, My Recent Documents. The system configuration items can also be customized to show or hide configuration tools depending on the role of the user who logged onto the system. Designated administrators can configure and lock down all Start menu settings by using the Group Policy Management tools built into Windows XP and Windows Server products. The Taskbar. The Windows XP taskbar has the ability to group similar applications to reduce clutter. You can then manage these groups together to maximize, minimize, or even close all applications in the group at once. Figure 1.3 shows a user closing a group of Microsoft Office Word 2003 documents. The taskbar can also hold toolbars such as Quick Launch or Media Player to provide quick access to these useful tools. You can copy icons to the Quick Launch bar so you can quickly launch applications or documents without having to open them from the Start menu. The Media Player toolbar activates a small Media Player control panel where Windows Media Player is minimized. Figure 1.4 shows the Quick Launch toolbar and the Media Player toolbar in use. The right side of the taskbar is known as the Notification area. This area, called the System tray in earlier versions of Windows, contains icons that represent operating system alerts, applications, or services that are running in the background of the system. Examples of these include an alert when operating system updates are available from Microsoft, or an icon that represents a running antivirus application. Figure 1.5 shows a notification area with several icons displayed. The Desktop. Many people who are familiar with the previous versions of Microsoft desktop operating systems have found the default Windows XP desktop, the area above the taskbar in Figure 1.6, surprisingly bare. Desktops in previous versions of Windows featured icons for My Computer, My Network Places, Internet Explorer, and other applications. Each application that users installed is also offered to add its own icons to the desktop. The result was a desktop with dozens of icons. Windows XP, by default, does not place any icon other than a recycle bin on the desktop. You can put your icons back on the desktop by customizing the desktop settings. The Windows Classic Desktop. When Windows XP was first released, many users were uncomfortable with the new desktop technology, codenamed Luna. To accommodate these users, Microsoft created a desktop theme that mimics many of the features of the earlier Windows interfaces. In this way, those who can't get a handle on the new interface can actually reinstate the entire Windows Classic theme. You get an interface similar to that of Windows 2000 Professional with auto colors and controls familiar to users of the older operating system. Figure 1.7. Note: we will discuss desktop themes and how to configure them in Chapter 5. I'm gonna get some more water. Page are we on? Page 6. I will be back. Hopefully my voice is a little bit better now. Hardware support. Windows XP has better hardware installation and configuration support than previous Windows versions. Microsoft has combined the scalability, reliability, and performance of the corporate family of operating systems with the ease of configuration for many tasks of the consumer family of operating systems and formed a comprehensive driver model with the best traits of each. Enhanced device driver support. Windows XP fully implements Microsoft's plug-and-play technology to allow simple configuration of supported hardware devices. Driver signing. Windows XP can be configured to require device drivers for new hardware to contain a digital signature from Microsoft Windows Hardware Quality Laboratory, WHQL. This ensures that devices and their drivers are tested and approved by an authoritative third party, in this case Microsoft, for use. Device driver rollback. If a driver is installed that causes a problem with the operating system or other hardware, it can be rolled back, effectively uninstalling it and returning the previous driver. This speeds recovery from incorrect driver installation. CD and DVD recording. Windows XP natively supports reading and writing to CDR and CDRW media. Files and video can be written directly to these media without any third-party burning tools. For example, users can select a folder of images from a digital camera, drag it to the icon representing their CDR drive, and then create a CD. They can also transfer more and larger files to a single CD instead of copying them to several smaller capacity floppy disks. This feature also provides options for original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, and independent software vendors, ISVs. OEMs can create branded applications that generate emergency boot CDs instead of emergency boot floppy disks, and, by using function calls to the CD-ROM burning features of the operating system, software vendors can offer a burn-to-CD option in their Windows applications. This can be a great feature, for example, in a graphics program that writes many large files to disk. Auto configuration for multiple network connectivity. The auto configuration for multiple network connectivity feature provides easy access to network devices and the internet. It also allows a mobile computer user to seamlessly operate both office and home networks without manually reconfiguring Transmission Control Protocol / Internet Protocol (TCP/IP) settings. You can also use this feature to specify an alternative configuration for TCP/IP if a dynamic host configuration protocol (DHCP) server is not found. The alternative configuration is useful when a computer is used on multiple networks. One of them does not have a DHCP server and does not use an automatic private Internet Protocol IP addressing configuration. Comprehensive help and support options. Windows XP has an extensive collection of user assistance features. Among these are a new Help and Support Center found in the Start menu, remote assistance, and support troubleshooters. Figure 1.8 shows the user assistance items we will introduce next. Microsoft also allows manufacturers and computer systems to create their own custom-branded versions of the Help and Support Center, Figure 1.9. This helps them to promote their brand identity while providing their customers with integrated support options. Pick a help topic. This area of help and support contains topical advice on system usage, configuration, and troubleshooting issues. Users are directed to information on system features, instructions on setting up system components, and wizards to guide more advanced processes. Ask for assistance. To ask for assistance feature allows users to ask another user for help via the remote assistance feature or to communicate directly with Microsoft product support services to resolve an issue. Remote assistance. The remote assistance feature allows a helper to remotely view and control a computer for any support task. It also enables chat and file transfers. If a user has a computer problem, another person can be invited to help over the internet. The remote assistant can accept the invitation, chat with the user about the problem, and view the desktop. With permission, the remote assistant can also get the full control of the computer to perform any complex steps needed to fix the problem. The remote assistant can also transfer any files required to fix the problem. Important: do not confuse remote assistance with remote desktop. Remote desktop allows one to connect to and control a computer remotely. It does not allow the user at the computer being controlled to see what is happening on the screen. We will present more information on remote desktop in Chapter 10. Microsoft Incident Submission and Management. The Microsoft Incident Submission and Management feature allows a user to submit electronic support incidents to Microsoft, collaborate with support engineers, and manage submitted incidents. Pick a task. This area of help and support contains links to Windows updates, links for locating compatible hardware and recovering from system problems, system restore, and a menu of system support tools. Windows Update. Microsoft maintains a collection of patches and updates for each recent Windows operating system on the Windows Update website. This option connects the user to the site to scan for additional updates. Compatible hardware and software. The compatible hardware and software feature provides up-to-date, comprehensive, user-friendly hardware and software compatibility information to aid users in upgrading equipment, making purchasing decisions, and troubleshooting problems. For example, if you purchase an application that requires a 3D accelerator card, you might not know which cards are compatible with your computer. You can use help and support to run a comprehensive query and find compatible 3D accelerator cards. You can run queries based on manufacturer, product type, software, or hardware. The Microsoft Compatibility Teams uses data from user interactions, independent hardware vendors, IHVs, and ISVs to improve their products. My Computer Information. My Computer Information provides an easily understood, highly accessible view of personalized software and hardware information about your computer or another computer for which you have administrative permissions. You can view information in 5 categories as described in the following sections. View general system information about this computer. The My Computer Information general category allows you to view information about your computer, such as the computer manufacturer, model, basic input, output system, BIOS version, processor version, and speed, operating system, amount of memory, and amount of available disk space. View the status of my system hardware and software. The My Computer Information status category allows you to examine diagnostic information about your computer, including the following: obsolete applications and device drivers, system software, hardware, video card, network card, sound card, and universal serial bus USB controller, hard disks, random access memory, RAM. Find information about the hardware installed on this computer. The Computer Information Hardware category allows you to examine descriptive information about your computer's hardware, including the local disk, display video card, modem, sound card, USB controller, network cards, CD-ROM driver, floppy drives, memory, and printers. View a list of Microsoft software installed on this computer. This software category allows you to view a list of Microsoft products that are installed and registered by a product identification PID number on your computer, including products that run automatically from startup. It also shows you the Windows Dr. Watson crash information about any software that crashed while running on your computer. View Advanced System Information. Advanced System Information allows you to choose from the following options. View Detailed System Information, msinfo32.exe. This option allows you to view detailed information about hardware resources, components, multimedia, input, network, ports, and storage, software environment, and internet settings as shown in Figure 110. View Running Services. This option lets you view the system service processes running on your computer. View Group Policy Settings applied. This option lets you view which settings on your computer are the result of group policy control. View the error log. View errors and messages from the operating system, its services, and installed applications. View information for another computer. If you have administrative permissions on a remote computer, you can view My Computer Information on that remote computer. If you click View Computer Information for another computer, the web page dialog box appears, prompting you to enter the name of the remote computer you want to view. Enter the remote computer name and click Open to view the remote computer information. Searching and printing options. Open Support also supports full text search function and gives users the ability to print applicable sections for offline reference. Full text search. The Windows Help System uses hypertext markup language, HTML, to format and display information. If you have an internet connection, you can search for every occurrence of a word or phrase across all Windows compiled HTML help files. Because the Windows Help System is also extensible, multiple search engines can plug into the Help and Support Center applications using a set of standard interfaces. Users can search for content across multiple remote and standard interfaces. And online providers. For example, you can search for information resident on your computer or located remotely in the Microsoft knowledge base or in a participating OEM's knowledge base. Note: the Microsoft Knowledge Base is a comprehensive database containing detailed articles with technical information about Microsoft products, fix lists, documentation errors, and answers to commonly asked technical support questions. To access the knowledge base directly instead of using the Help and Support application, go to search.support.microsoft.com/kb/c.asp. Printing. The Help and Support Center application allows you to print an entire chapter of help content with one print command. That is, you can iteratively print all available topics in a specified node. If some topics are not available because of a network connection problem, Windows XP Professional prints only the available content. After you have located the information you want to print, click Print. Windows XP Security Technologies. Windows XP supports many technologies for securing communications and data. Among these are Windows Firewall, Security Center, Attachment Manager, Encrypting File System, and Policy-Based Security Management. Windows Firewall. Known prior to Windows XP Service Pack 2, SP2, as an Internet Connection Firewall, Windows XP SP2 provides the improved Internet Firewall known as the Windows Firewall SP2, enables the Windows Firewall by default to protect Internet-connected computers from malicious access from the Internet. The Windows XP Firewall blocks nearly all incoming TCP/IP traffic by default. It automatically responds to requests by a Windows application for Internet data by opening a port to allow traffic only from its remote host. When a connection is dropped, the port is closed again to outside traffic. Unless a user chooses to configure service definitions, the Windows Firewall does not respond to any outside connection attempt. This prevents any access from an outside system that is not specifically invited, thus thwarting attempts to hack the system from the Internet. Security Center. Released with SP2, the Security Center, Figure 111, is a centralized Internet security monitoring center. It has links to maintenance and configuration activities for Internet Firewall, virus protection, and automatic updates. Note: the Security Center will be discussed in more depth in Chapter 14. Attachment Manager. The Attachment Manager, also released in SP2, provides security by controlling which email attachments can be opened within installed email clients. Encrypting File System. The Encrypting File System, EFS, stores folders and files in encrypted form, generating file encryption keys for each encrypted file stored on the system. The keys are then encrypted with a key belonging to the file's owner and one belonging to a designated recovery agent. Encryption prevents people from getting access to data in these files even if they somehow gain access to the system. Without the user's key or recovery agent's key, the data is inaccessible to all other users. Note: we will discuss EFS in more depth in Chapter 3 and Chapter 14. Security Management Policies. Windows XP uses security management policies to define security settings on the local computer. These settings can be applied directly to the computer using the Local Security Policy Console, as shown in Figure 112, or remotely using a Group Policy Management tool. Using policies, you can devise a standard group of security settings and apply them to multiple computers at once, ensuring consistent security systems throughout the enterprise. Windows XP Organizational Roles. Windows XP Professional is at home both in small offices and international enterprises. With its enormously flexible configuration options, Windows XP can be configured for standalone use, sharing files with a small network workgroup, or for working on a large network in which files are accessed from servers in far-off data centers. Workgroup networks. A workgroup is a logical connection of computers that share resources with each other, as shown in Figure 1-13. These resources may be files, printers, or applications. A workgroup is also called a peer-to-peer network because all computers in this workgroup can share resources as equals, peers, without a dedicated server security, and a workgroup is defined by a series of local security databases residing on each of the computers that are sharing resources. Note: logical versus physical network structures. A logical network structure, such as a workgroup or domain, is basically a management tool used by administrators to classify, configure, and support computers in that network. A physical network structure is the actual hardware design, including such items as routers, switches, cables, and connectors that make up the actual networks. Users of computers and workgroups are given access to resources on each computer by the person in charge of that computer. They have a username and password for each computer on which they access resources. It is not uncommon for a user to have to keep track of several different usernames and passwords. A workgroup provides the following advantages. It does not require inclusion of a domain controller in the configuration to hold centralized security information. It is simple to design and implement. It does not require the extensive planning and administration that a domain requires. It is a convenient networking environment for a limited number of computers in close proximity. Some disadvantages of workgroups include: a workgroup becomes impractical in environments with more than 10 computers because each computer has its own security authority and must maintain its own set of usernames and passwords. This greatly increases administrative overhead as a workgroup grows. Workgroups do not provide for centralized management of systems or resources. Workgroups require users to remember and use different usernames and passwords for each resource they need to access. Workgroups usually struggle with computer name resolution across IP subnets and switched networks. Domain networks. A domain is a logical grouping of network computers that share a central directory database as shown in Figure 114. A directory database contains user accounts and security information for the domain. This database is known as a directory and is a major portion of Active Directory, the Windows 2000 and Windows Server 2003 directory service. Active Directory can manage much more than just user security, however. It can publish shared data folders, printers, applications, and other resources of location and configuration. Users can be consolidated into organizational units, OUs, based on their roles within the organization. Management responsibility can be delegated to junior administrators without compromising the security of the entire directory. In a domain, the directory resides on computers that are configured as domain controllers. A domain controller is a server that manages all security-related aspects of user and domain interactions, centralizing security and administration. Note: you can designate only a computer running one of the Microsoft Windows Server products as a domain controller. If all the computers on the network are running Windows XP Professional, the only type of network available is a workgroup. Users of computers and domains are given each access to resources on each computer by a central administration team. Each user has only one username and password to access resources throughout the domain. This method of control greatly simplifies management of user accounts. The benefits of a domain include the following: centralized administration, because all user information is stored centrally. A single logon process for users to gain access to network resources such as file, print, and application resources for which they have permission. In other words, you can log on to one computer and use resources on another computer in the network as long as you have appropriate permissions to access the resources. Scalability, so you can create very large networks. A typical Windows domain includes the following types of computers: domain controllers running Windows 2000 Server or Windows Server 2003. Each domain controller stores and maintains a copy of the directory. In the domain, you create a user account once, which is recorded in the directory. When a user logs onto the computer in the domain, a domain controller authenticates the user by checking the directory for the username, password, and logon restrictions. When there are multiple domain controllers in the domain, they periodically replicate their directory information. Member servers running Windows 2000 Server or Windows Server 2003. A member server is a server that is not configured as a domain controller. A member server does not store directory information and cannot authenticate users. Member servers provide shared resources such as shared files or printers. Client computers running Windows XP Professional, Windows 2000 Professional, or another Windows client operating system. Client computers run at the user's desktop environment and allow the user to gain access to resources in the domain. Logging on and off Windows XP Professional. The procedure used to log on to Windows XP differs depending on the operating system's role in the network. Users in the workgroup environment might use the welcome screen or the log on to Windows dialog box. Domain users are restricted to the log on to Windows dialog box. The welcome screen. By default, Windows XP Professional uses the welcome screen to allow users to log on locally as shown in Figure 115. To log in, click the user icon for the user account you want to use. If the account requires a password, you are prompted to enter it. If the account is not password protected, you are logged onto the computer. In addition to the welcome screen, you can use fast user switching, which is on by default. This feature allows you to quickly log into another user on the system while the originally logged on user is placed on standby status. The original user's applications are kept running and return to screen whenever you switch back to the original user. Note: if your computer is a member of a domain, the welcome screen and fast user switching will not be available. You can use Ctrl-Alt-Delete in the welcome screen to get the log on to Windows dialog box. This enables you to log on to the administrator account, which is not displayed on the welcome screen when other user accounts have been created. To use Ctrl-Alt-Delete, you must enter the sequence twice to get the logon prompts. A user can log on locally to get either of the following: a computer that is a member of a workgroup, a computer that is a member of the domain but is not domain controlled. The user account's program in the control panel includes a change the way users log on or off task, which allows you to configure Windows XP Professional to use the logon to Windows dialog box instead of the welcome screen. The logon to Windows dialog box. To use the logon to Windows dialog box, shown in Figure 116, to log on locally to a computer running Windows XP Professional, you must supply a valid username. If the username is password protected, you must also supply a password. Windows XP Professional authenticates the user's identity during the logon process. Only valid users can access resources and data on a computer or network. Windows XP Professional authenticates users who log on locally to the computer at which they are seated, and one of the domain controllers in Windows 2000 or Windows Server 2003 domain authenticates users who log on to a domain. When a user starts a computer running Windows XP Professional that is configured to use the Logon to Windows dialog box, an Options button appears. This allows the user to expose or hide options such as logging onto a domain instead of the local system or connecting to the network using dialog networking. Note: if your computer is not part of the domain, you will not get the log on to option. Summary: Windows XP includes the most advanced Microsoft user interface to date. It includes an intuitive user interface and high-resolution graphics to present users with an attractive and useful environment. Windows XP has many hardware interface design features that make using peripheral devices easier. Among these are driver signing and device driver rollback. Help and Support is a comprehensive collection of support tools and technologies that make it easier to locate and help and assistance. Windows XP supports many security technologies to protect users and their data from malicious programs and hack attempts. Windows XP supports a wide range of uses, including standalone, workgroup, and domain environments. Windows XP provides login security to ensure that the access to the desktop is authenticated. Review questions. Which feature of Windows XP Professional allows you to prevent people who gain access to a computer's files from reading the context of the files? Choose all that apply. A. Windows Firewall. B. Encrypting File System, EFS. C. Group Policy. And D. Local Security Policy. Which feature of Windows XP Professional allows you to recover from installing the incorrect driver on a device? Choose all that apply. Driver signing. A. Driver signing. B. Driver rollback. C. Plug and play. D. Windows Hardware Quality Laboratory, WHQL. Question 3. Which feature in help and support allows a user to receive help from another user over a network connection? Choose all that apply. A. System restore. B. Microsoft Incident Submission. C. Remote assistance. D. Remote desktop. 4. Which of the following statements best describes Windows Firewall? Choose all that apply. Windows Firewall prevents unauthorized users from accessing system files. B. Windows Firewall protects the computer from high temperatures by shutting it down when it gets too warm. C. Windows Firewall protects the computer from attacks by malicious users or programs on the internet. D. Windows Firewall encrypts data files on a computer's disk drives. Question 5. Which of the following scenarios depict a workgroup network? Choose all that apply. A. A small collection of computers that share files with each other. Each computer has a list of authorized users. B. A large corporate network with hundreds of computers and a central accounts database. C. One computer connected to the internet via a modem. D. A laptop on the hood of a car on a construction site. Case scenarios. Scenario 1-1. Securing data. You have been hired by a large pharmaceutical company to support its research department. Many of the users in the department use laptop computers and travel extensively. The company wants to prevent unauthorized access to contents on the disk of each laptop and is concerned about what will happen to the company's trade secrets if a laptop is stolen. What feature of Windows XP helps you address these two concerns? 1. Encrypting file system, EFS. 2. Remote assistance. 3. User accounts. Or 4. Windows Firewall. Scenario 1-2. Assisting remote users. Your boss is staying at a hotel while at a conference. He's logged onto your domain over the internet connection and is having a problem with his email configuration. You have tried to visualize the errors as he's describing, but it'll be much simpler to troubleshoot the problem if you could just see the screen. How can you get a view of the screen to help him troubleshoot the problem? And that is chapter 1, and that is going to be all. We are about on an hour. I'll actually wait for us to get to the hour. We're about a minute off. That's surprisingly close. So, you might be wondering what the context was for all that reading. Well, the context is that is why I can't react right now, because my voice is very sore and tired. So sorry about that. 3, 2, 1. It's MF Kaiji Sunday! Just kidding, I'm fucking reacting! Yes! 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 Bad level! Fuck you!